Last summer I created a little whimsy on my back deck by making this lovely fairy garden using broken pots and Ubani mini figurines. Well, I want to show you how I brought that same whimsy into the rest of my backyard while making my wildlife birds very happy by creating this little fairy garden bird feeder village. To make my bird feeder village, I'm using terracotta clay pots, one 8.5-inch round saucer, one 7-inch round orchid pot, and one 6-inch round clay pot, or whichever size pots will nest inside each other. I'm also using 3 small 4.5-inch round pots, my multi-surface metallic acrylic paint, 2 1/4-inch 20 by 12-inch threaded rods, 2 1/4-inch 20 by 12-inch eye bolts, 3 coupling bolts 1/4 inch, 3 washers 5/16 by 1.5 inch, and 2 1/4 inch nuts. You'll also need a drill and a 1/2 inch glass and tile bit. Unfortunately, my saucer does not have a hole in it like the rest of the pots, so I'm going to have to drill a small hole in it. I'm going to start by marking the center of the saucer, and I'm going to place it on top of a little piece of wood. Now this will take a few minutes, but you want to take your time with this. Start off slow and steady so that you won't crack the saucer. And use goggles when you're doing this. Now after this feels like it's gone all the way through, I'm going to stop and check to see if my bolt will go through the hole. And it's not quite big enough, so I'm going to turn it over and just slowly drill a hole from the other side to make sure the hole is open all the way and the bolt will fit through. Now I'm ready to paint my pots to look like fairy houses. I'm going to start with the 6-inch round pot, and I'm going to use this as the roof of the house. So I'm going to paint little tiles for the roof. I'm just going to paint some squares using the black and mixing that with the bronze acrylic paint. So I just did like a subway pattern or a brick pattern all the way around, and I'm using the rest of the bronze paint to just paint around the sides and the top of the pot. And I decided to go back with a little pearl white just to highlight those tiles. It just gives it a little more dimension if I brush on the white halfway through the pieces. For the main part of the house, I'm using this orchid pot with the holes, and I am using pearl white to paint the base of it. The metallic paints are a little translucent, so I'm going to go back and brush on another coat, but I sort of like the whitewash look of it. Now I'm going to use a little black to paint a door right between the 2 openings that I'm going to use as windows. And I'll add some blue shutters around the windows. Give the door a little more dimension by adding a door seal with white. I'm also going to trim the top of the roof with this electric blue and trim the other part of the roof with electric blue. Now I'm going to mix a little yellow in with the rest of that blue and use it to paint the saucer green. I want it green so that it looks like the house is sitting on grass. Now I'm adding a little black to the green to make darker green, and adding some splotches so that it looks like there are bushes in the grass. and I'm adding a little dots of yellow to make the leaves on the bushes stand out. I always like to distribute the colors that I'm using throughout the whole piece, so since I have green at the bottom, I think I'll add green at the top of the roof by painting on some vine that will trail from the top of the roof down to the front of the house. So I'll start by painting the vine with black, and I'll fill in the leaves with green and yellow. And of course I want to extend that vine down to the bottom pot. And now I'll just add a few finishing touches, like some little red dots for flowers in the bushes and some white lines to make a gate in the yard, a few flowers in front of the house, and a little stone pathway to the door. So you can make this as simple as you want or go crazy with it and have fun. Since I want to create a little bird feeder village, I'm going to paint these little pots like houses similar to my big house. But these pots will hold flowers instead of bird seeds, and I'm going to accent them in red, green, and blue. With all of the pieces painted, I'm going to cure them by sticking them in the oven at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. When you're baking these, crack a window just to make sure there's a lot of ventilation, and after 30 minutes, let it cool off completely in the oven. Now that all the pieces are dry, let's put this together. I'm going to put this together like this, the saucer, then the big pot, and the smaller pot on top. First I'm going to take my two rods and put them together to make one long rod with this coupling nut in the center. So you just screw one in and screw the other in and screw them together until they both meet in the center, and make sure it's screwed together really tight. Then you're going to add a nut and a washer and bring that up about maybe 3 inches from the center piece. Then you want to push that through the hole of the orchid pot and the hole of the saucer. Make sure your door is lined up with your walkway. Then turn that upside down and place a washer and a nut at the bottom. And use a wrench or pliers to tighten that up really good. Next you're going to put your roof through the bolt. And you want to make sure that that middle coupling piece is inside of the top pot. Then you're going to add a washer on top of that top piece, and the washer is just to keep the rain from getting into the pot. But you're adding the washer without the nut to allow you to lift the top up and put your seeds in, and then close it back up. Now with another coupling bolt, I'm going to attach an eye bolt at the top of the pole and also one at the bottom. I'm putting the eye bolt at the bottom just in case I want to hang a plant from here or another feeder. Now I think my big feeder is ready to hang. To make a few smaller feeders, I'm using these Dollar Tree candle holders and a couple of saucers that I already had at home and Dollar Tree miniature glass bowls. So I'm using Gorilla Glue epoxy to glue the plate to the candle holder, and then the bowl to the saucer. After that's dry, I'm going to take needle nose pliers and I am going to gently straighten out the ends of the feet of this candle holder so that it looks like this. And I am going to make 3 of these, one for each little pot. So at Walmart I found this hanging plant holder. It holds 3 little pots, and I'm going to hang this on my shepherd's hook that I have already outside in the yard. So I planted flowers in my homemade little fairy pots, and the pots fit perfectly inside, and already it's starting to feel like a little floating village. Now to turn these into bird feeders, I'm taking my saucer and bowl pieces and I'm going to gently push that into the dirt on top of the flowers so that I'll have a place to put seeds for the birds, and I can still water the plants underneath. Now I'm going to hang my large feeder on the shepherd's hook, lift the top up, and add my bird seeds. The seeds will spill out through the windows, and as the birds peck at the windows, more seeds will come out. And the smaller birds can just enjoy eating the seeds from the open bowls. Now I think all this village needs is just a few little characters. I'm going to finish this off by adding a few of my Ubani figurines. Now this was not just a fun project for me, but the kids would really love this, and the birds will truly thank you. Now you can get our metallic acrylic craft paint in 8 shimmering colors, available now at Amazon.com. Follow me on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and Snapchat at Your Hustle Home and Your Hustle Home TV for daily home, food, and gardening tips.